ladies and gentlemen, it's the Night Time Show, live from the Hollywood Improv in Los Angeles, California, only on Sideshow Network. Here today we've got our head writer, Matt Walker. Also, we have our amazing guest today from the Roast Battle. This is the Roast Battle Wrap-Up, folks. Roast Battle Wrap-Up. We've got the phenomenon known as Earl Skakel. And then, of course, a fan favorite, someone everyone loves, Olivia Grace, folks, is here.
Someone everyone loves.
Someone everyone loves.
That's the best intro ever.
And now, our announcer, and of course, our host, and the most adorable man in 5 counties, Stephen Kramer Glickman! Yeah!
What are the 5 counties that you're the most adorable in?
Well, Laguna Beach,
That's not a
definitely.
county.
That's a city.
I don't know. I'm not good at things. Guys, how are you? How you doing?
Welcome back.
Holy crap. Roast Battle Wrap-Up. We got you guys here. This is amazing.
Yeah.
We get to
Earl,
sit down.
thank you for wearing a shirt.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
for
I
sure.
appreciate that.
And you look very handsome.
You do.
You look terrific on the show.
I mean, I'm all about the live theater of Roast Battle.
What's it like to go from being a well-respected comedian, although relatively unknown,
No, not relatively. Unknown.
completely unknown,
Yes, sure.
to being a name in the world of comedy in the span of like 4 days?
It's overwhelming, you know, to go like literally 16 years with pretty much nothing to within 1 week being on Comedy Central 4 nights.
Because I remember you and I had a
Jesus
conversation
Christ.
like maybe
outrageous.
4 months ago. We sat there, we were talking outside the Improv one night, and we were talking about how I've done stand-up now 13 years, and you're about 16 years in, and we talked about how neither one of us had ever been on TV to do stand-up. And then it's like 3 months later, all of a sudden you've blown up. It's great.
Dude, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't
Amazing.
suck. And it's all because of the former talent coordinator at the Comedy Store. I mean, that's how I originally got into Roast Battle.
You're doing a Tommy impression.
And that's the ultimate irony that I'm on TV.
So for the guy who wouldn't give you spots in the club is now sort of
Yeah.
responsible for you getting to be known. That's great.
That's so awesome.
Thank you, Tommy.
Were you
Yeah.
doing an impression of Tommy at Roast Battle while Tommy was still working there?
Oh, yeah, at that point, I had given up being passed at the store. So I wasn't burning a bridge. I was incinerating one. And but he was never going to pass me, so I didn't really
Oh,
care.
fuck him. You know, who cares?
I
Not
mean-
really. Not, you know what I'm saying.
No,
It's fine.
I mean, I grew to like him a little bit when I had him on my podcast. And
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you did have him on the podcast. That
To-
was a very brave and cool move to do that.
Well, I think I humanized him a little bit, but he might have come off even worse to anyone.
You know, him and me had a weird and interesting relationship. I mean, I got passed at the store while he was there, and he would give me spots and like get me up and stuff. But I also worked at the Comedy Store as a phone operator upstairs, and I got to watch the way that he handled the world of comedy, and it was tricky, man. It was hard to watch because it wasn't always. So I didn't always agree with a lot of the things that were
Comedy isn't
happening.
pretty.
Yeah, well, it wasn't. It was, you're watching the way the thing back then. The club was being handled very, very, very differently, and I think it's killing it right now.
Well, yeah.
Olivia, you were absolutely incredible on the show, and you're so fucking hilarious. Let's do a quick little rewind here, because you were performing at the store a lot, and then you were cut off. Are you allowed to perform there again now, or
Not till I'm 21. I was like, the rule we had was like, I was allowed to go there and perform, and then as soon as my set was over, I had to leave.
Yeah.
And then after a couple things happened, and after that they were like, no, we're gonna wait till you're 21. So, it was just the management, but I totally understand it. Like, I've never been like, oh, I deserve to be there. It's like, oh, okay, it's the law. All right. I don't want to get the club. I don't want them to have to lose their liquor license,
Yeah.
because then they'd have to close. Yeah.
I mean, I saw you. I went on YouTube to like kind of I wanted to watch some stand up last night, and I was like, oh, Olivia's gonna come on the show. I should go watch some of her stand up online. And what I found was
That's such an old clip.
yeah, I found a set of yours when you're 17 years old performing at Brea.
At
Is
the
that
Brea
right?
Improv, yeah,
and you're fucking destroying.
It's because I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And everybody was like, oh my God, we remember being 17. So that's what it was. Like, and then did you notice I only did 6 minutes, and at the end I was like, I don't have any material left. And they were like, yay.
It was great though.
It was fun.
It was
man.
great.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Did you have other clips up and you've pulled them, or you just haven't been putting stuff up?
I just haven't been putting stuff up. I hate watching myself. Like I had to submit a tape the other night, and I have a decent tape, but the lighting is fucked. And I was like, oh shit, I shouldn't send this in. And then I sent it in, and I was just like, oh fuck, they're gonna hate this clip. And then they got back to me, and they were like, hey, great clip, man. When are you available? And I was like, oh, that's such a relief. So I don't have anything out there because I think everything I do is shit.
Now, you've been doing stand-up since you were 14?
15, yeah.
15.
I was like 15, about to be 16.
Yeah,
And
because I think I met you when you were 16 down at
Yeah.
Max Bloom's
Yeah.
in Fullerton, that shithole.
Yeah, I mean, I like it there. When I started doing stand-up, it started when I was like 15, like first year of high school, and like I would go around to like music open mics with my friend, and we would like do songs together, and then it kind of just ended up me doing stand-up after that. So
and by the way, when we say shithole, that's a term of endearment for a lot of places.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, 99% of the gigs I do are at shitholes. So
oh
it's
yeah, for
not-
sure.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I get it. I get you. I'm so
No,
tired. I'm sorry.
I'm just saying. I'm saying that to the audience so they know.
Oh,
They
okay.
know.
Okay, cool.
So
Yeah.
when you, how did you hurt your leg while you're in Canada? Let's talk about that.
Oh my God. What the fuck happened?
What
Dude,
happened?
it was
I've known you to be clumsy ever
Walk
since
us
I've known you.
very clumsy. Yeah.
We're gonna do this just so that both you guys know this, because Olivia has to take off sooner than later. So
Yeah.
Olivia, if you can kind of walk us through you fly out and you get there. How does it get from the point of you landing to the leg incident? How does this go?
So the first day I flew in on Wednesday, and that was the first night they were taping, and I wasn't on that episode of Roast Battle. So I was like, I'm going to go and just watch. So I was in the audience. And then after the show, I was like, oh, I want to go backstage and say hi to everybody. And I went up to the bouncer, and I showed him my pass, and he was kind of giving me and my friend kind of like, no, we can't let anybody else back here right now, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, but I'm on the show.
Yeah.
And he kind of didn't really understand that. So I was like, fuck it, I'll just go around. So I went around the audience and then across the stage, and behind the stage there were like these metal grates that they were like shining lights through, and I started walking across the platform, and I slipped and I hit the ground, and my right shin hit the ground first, and Jamar and Willie picked me up, and they were like, "You okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm good. It kind of hurts." And we both looked down at my leg, and everybody went, "Oh my God." It looked so bad. It looked like someone had like torn open a bag of wet oatmeal and was just squeezing it out. Like you could see all the muscle and the fat, and like
no.
people
What?
told me you could see 5 inches of bone. It was just
Wow.
straight to the bone, clean cut.
Oh my God.
So then I looked down, I saw it, I was like, oh fuck. And then they were like, oh my God, somebody call 911, let's get a medic in here. Like it was, and they helped me sit down, and I went into shock immediately. There were parts of it that I really don't remember, or like, it was weird, but apparently when I'm dying, I'm really fun to be around. Because they propped my leg up, and the EMT started putting like abdominal pads on it because I was really bleeding a lot, and like
Was there just blood all over the stage at this point? Were you there, Earl? Did you see this happening?
well, he was outside. You tell your part of it.
I was outside, and everyone was congratulating me on my victory, and so I'm in like the best mood ever. And because the guy I beat was like, a lot of people thought he should have won
good.
last year. I mean, he's
Yeah, he's
Very
good.
good.
Yeah.
Tom's great.
Tom's amazing. Tom Ballard. And Charlie, our friend from Austin, comes out. He's like, Earl, you got to get in there. Olivia's down. She's down. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
He's like, she's hurt. You got to get in there right now. So I go in there, and she had looked so pale, even just on first glance. And I'm like, Olivia, what do you need? And Olivia just was like, get out of here. You're not making it any better. And I looked at her leg, and our friend Omid Singh said it looked like someone had opened up a sandwich on her leg.
Yeah, it was so gnarly.
Oh
So
my
gross.
Dude, it was
God.
really bad. I thought I was dying. Like, the EMT had to put a tourniquet on my leg to stop
Oh,
it
wow.
from bleeding. Like, yeah, it was gnarly. And
Oh my God.
my shoes were just soaked in blood. My jeans are just bright red. And, like, it was pretty bad. And actually, it was Amy who was
V?
talking to me. Yeah.
Wow.
And she was like, she sat down right away, and she was like, you're going to be okay. And Fahim Anwar was there with me for a little bit too. I guess his brother's a doctor, and he just sat down, and he was like, hey, Olivia, going to be okay. let's stay conscious. And he was just talking to me, and I was just holding on to him and shaking and like
Oh,
touching his
my.
hair. Apparently, I didn't know this, but my hands were bleeding too. So I was just getting blood all over everybody. Like,
Oh my God.
yeah, I was completely in shock. There were parts of it I don't remember. Like, I can't remember if this happened or not. But the Comedy Store manager who kicks me out, usually he's the guy I call when I'm like, hey, Roast Battle's having an event. Can I go? And he always says no because you're not 21 yet. And he sat down and he started talking to me. And I can't remember if I said this or not, but he sat down and I looked at him and I think I went, you're so handsome. It's just like my leg is just open and bleeding and like, it was crazy.
Was the God, what a fucking nightmare.
I really thought I was gonna die. It was scary.
Yeah, that's really, really scary. What did you like? What were you feeling while this was all happening? Were you were you scared? Did you feel scared the whole time?
At first, I was terrified, but I mean, I went into shock so quickly, and I was just so full of adrenaline that it didn't hurt. And I was just so focused on, I knew instinctually that if I just kept talking and I kept making jokes and I kept saying things to people and touching people and like just moving a little bit, that I would be able to stay conscious.
Right.
And I kept saying, like, I think I'm going to pass out. And they're like, you're not going to pass out. Just keep talking, keep looking at me, like it was good. So I was lucky that Amy and Fahim were there. Amy fucking saved me for sure. She just went into like, I'm going to help you mode. And like everybody who needed to be there was there to like keep me conscious and stuff like that. And
Good Lord.
yeah, it was crazy. The best part
Thank
though
God
was,
for Amy's V.
oh my God, seriously, she's so great. She knew exactly what to do. And I was like, am I going to die? And she was like, no, look, the same thing happened to me. And she showed me like a scar on her leg. She's like, same thing happened to me. I was fine. It's going to be fine. But
Wow. Good Lord.
the best part though was when Jimmy Carr walked by, because he's very like hard to like, he's kind of like a hard person to throw
Shock.
off.
Yeah.
And he was walking by, and I think he knew what was going on, and he didn't really want to look. So he walks by, and I'm sitting there with my leg open, and the EMT's just like, there's just a pool of blood around me. And Jimmy Carr walks by, and I'm like, hey man, good set tonight.
Oh my God.
and out of the corner of his eye, he turned and he went, thank you. And he was like, ugh, ugh, like he just didn't want to look, but he wanted to also say thanks. And he also just seemed very confused by the whole situation.
Oh my
That's
God.
funny.
Yeah.
Wow.
They called an ambulance. They put me in, and then the next day I went out and did the show, and I was on
You
set.
were
for,
on.
like,
You performed the next night.
the next night. Yeah.
That's outrageous.
Yeah. It was crazy. I was.
How long were you in the
exhausted.
hospital for?
I was in the hospital for about 2 hours. Luckily the EMT put a tourniquet on, and they have to see people immediately if you have a tourniquet on your leg, because if you leave it on for too long,
Oh, then they
you
have to
start
cut off your leg.
Yeah, you start to get necrotic flesh, basically, and they have to cut your leg off. So they saw the tourniquet, and they were like, oh, fuck, because if I didn't have it on, they would have made me wait in the ER for another, 3-4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So they brought me into surgery right away, and the surgeon did about 2 hours of work on my leg, tucking the muscle back in and stitching up muscle.
Oh my God.
I needed 35 stitches, and
How did you just so everyone understands, the Nighttime Show podcast is upstairs of the Hollywood Improv, so you had to come up a flight of stairs.
She's not even limping
You're
when we
not
see her
even-
walking around here. That's amazing.
It's outrageous.
It's like 5 days ago.
I'm so lucky that it didn't.
Canada healthcare system, I'm telling you.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy. I'm
Not
lucky
bad.
it didn't tear any ligaments. It didn't break my knee. It didn't break any bone. It was honestly just a flesh wound. It was a bad one, but that's all it was.
Jesus Christ.
And it was so great that the Comedy Store manager went with me to the hospital, because he was being such a dad. And we have this kind of interesting relationship where he's always got to say no to me.
Who was it?
Eric Anderson.
Oh yeah, all right.
And he was fantastic, and we had a little bit of bonding done when we were at the hospital. And he was like, why didn't you lie to everyone at the Comedy Store? You would be allowed to go there if you had just lied and told everyone that you were over 21. And I was like, I don't know, I didn't want to lie to you. And he was like, oh, okay, that's really sweet. So we kind of had this moment of repairing our relationship and stuff. But yeah, then the next night I had to go out, and they brought me a wheelchair, and I went out in a wheelchair, and Jeremiah rolled me out, and I emailed them when I got home from the hospital at 7 a.m. I was like, hey guys, really fucked my leg up, gonna need a wheelchair tomorrow. And they had a wheelchair. They built me this badass ramp. It was fucking crazy.
Yeah, you were and you were fucking phenomenal on stage.
Oh, thank
you.
you.
were amazing. And everybody, you could just tell, everyone loved
Yeah.
you. Everyone was so impressed.
Thank
It
you.
was incredible. That's insane. That's an
Dude.
insane story.
I didn't know this, but I was high on codeine the whole time.
Really?
Because I told everybody, I was like, they gave me like Tylenol 3, which is the Tylenol with a bunch of codeine in it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not going to take it until after roast battle. I'm just going to take extra strength Tylenol because I didn't want to be like in a fucking coma on stage, like throwing up and da-da-da-da.
Right.
So I was like, I'm just take Tylenol. So I started taking extra strength Tylenol. And for like 3 days, I was taking it, and I was like, man, I feel amazing. Like, I felt so good, and like, I was like euphoric, and I was like, I have a new lease on life because of this injury. Like, I see things in a whole new way. And then I found out that extra strength Tylenol in Canada has a bunch of codeine in it. So I was high the whole time, and I didn't know. And I feel bad because I kind of yelled at Whoopi Goldberg when she was like, you high as a kite right now. And I'm like, no, I'm not.
No, I'm not. You are.
You're like, shut up, Guinan.
God, you know what's so funny is people always give shit about Canada's healthcare system, about how
It's great.
Yeah, but it's phenomenal.
Mhm.
Let me tell you something real quick. Small weird story, but true story. My grandfather, who's passed on, he was on dialysis in Montreal, Canada. That's where I'm from, is London, Ontario. My whole family's from Montreal.
Oh, how cool.
And it's a beautiful, beautiful place. And when my grandfather was on dialysis in Canada, they made him go something like 6 days a week. It was like 6 days a week on dialysis. But when he came here to visit in California, it was 2 to 3 days a week. And they said, when we were like, oh, it's so nice, having you around and all this other stuff. And he was like, yeah, but in Canada, people who are on dialysis live for like 10, 15, years on dialysis.
Because they get cleared out.
Because it's every day, and it's hard, but it's every day. And in California, people who are on dialysis usually pass within like a few years, like 2-3 years, because
my God.
it's easier, but it's not as it's not getting the job done as much. So
Wow.
when I knew that you were, if this happened to you at like the fucking New York Comedy Festival, it'd be a different story, I think.
Oh, dude, yeah.
You'd be hosed. You'd have bills up your ass.
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah.
It would have been so expensive.
Oh
So-
yeah, at the hospital they were saying you've got to agree to pay before we bring you into surgery, and I was like, sure, what is it? How much is it? And they were like, well, it's about $1,800, and I was like, okay. And then they were like, but you can pay like a $200 minimum, and I was like, sure. And that's all I had to pay. I had to pay $200 for the ambulance ride, for the fucking major fucking surgery.
That's
like
amazing.
That's
yeah,
amazing.
The medication, all of it was like $200.
And
Like,
and you're doing fine. You look terrific. So.
dude, I feel amazing.
Yeah.
I'm shocked that I feel fine. Like the first day in the wheelchair was a nightmare, and then after that, it's just been like, yeah, people thought I was faking because the next day I was walking around and they were like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" But people who saw it were like, "It's amazing that you're able to walk right now." It really is. I mean,
outrageous.
right now it looks fantastic. Like it's just a little bruised.
She's
it's
been
not
posting
swollen.
kick-ass scar stitches photos on Facebook. It's awesome.
Yes,
Yeah, it looks
so
amazing.
cool.
It's the best.
Yeah, and it doesn't hurt. I'm not on painkillers or Tylenol.
Like
anymore,
if you were still more goth, you'd be like, "This is the most goth thing I've got." About
Wait. Okay, before we continue, I gotta say this, Matt. The other night I had a fireball moment, and
What are you talking about?
oh, a fireball moment. That's when you drink Fireball whiskey, and then you just have like a fireball moment where like things suddenly get heightened. Everything gets better. Everything gets more intense and crazier. You ever drink Fireball whiskey? That's like what
It's good
happens.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's the best. So
You never know
here's-
what'll happen if you drink Fireball.
You really don't. You really don't. And so here's what happened: is I was sitting at the beach. We're hanging out at the beach, and I'm just sitting there. Waves are crashing on the sand. I had a little bonfire going. Having a nice time. That was a bird flying. Caw-caw. So I'm like sitting there. I'm having a nice time. I look out in the ocean. Right, I'm roasting some marshmallows. I look out in the ocean. I had like 2 shots of Fireball. I look out in the ocean and I see a whale.
What kind of whale?
It was like a blue whale. It was enormous.
Wow.
Yeah, and its like face was coming out of the water, and I know this is gonna sound crazy, but
This was after two
I had
shots?
2 shots, and I
Okay.
can see the blue. I can see the
Not 2 bottles, 2
no,
shots.
blue whale, and its face is coming out of the water, and I know it's gonna sound crazy, but it totally spoke to me.
Steven.
It-
Steven.
Is that the whale?
that was the whale, and I said, "Whale, are you talking to me?"
Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Fernando the Whale.
Wow, Fernando the whale.
Oh, yes. Would you like to come with me on an adventure?
Sure, I would love to, Fernando. That sounds amazing. And then I climbed on top of the whale. I swam out. I climbed on. I brought my bottle of Fireball with me. I climb on top of the whale, and
Hold on to my snout.
I will.
Off we
Oh
go!
my God! It's amazing. We're in
Did the
the
whale
ocean.
say, hold on to his snout?
Yeah, spout. He said spout.
Okay.
Hold on
Hold
to
on to
spout.
my spout. Here we go.
Whoa! It's amazing. It's like we're flying through the ocean, and this whale just moves so fast. I can see everything. Oh my God! I've never seen anything in my life.
Steven, let's fly through that old pirate ship full
Oh,
of dead things.
whoa! There's pirates on there, and I'm waving at them. Hey there, who is that? It's me, Steven, my whale. It's me and my
Hi,
whale.
pirates.
Hey, get out of here, you two!
Give us your gold.
Yeah, give us your gold, you stupid pirate. Okay, here you go. Sweet gold. Wow, we got gold, and so that's how I got all that gold. That's why I bought that new car.
And that's your Fireball moment.
Yeah, man, Fireball. It really pays to have an adventure. Anyways, let's get back to the show.
Oh, you know.
Oh yeah, for
How,
sure.
how did you and Earl meet? How did you guys meet and start hanging out?
Oh my God, we met at the Comedy Store at the roast battle the first night. You were the hater, and I was this like fat chick in a beanie, and like, I don't know, we just.
You were killing this guy at roast battle.
Yeah.
I was like, who is this girl?
Who was she up against?
I don't really remember.
Oh, Matt Cole. Matt Cole. Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny.
And Matt's awesome. He's
Yeah,
a
he's a
great
good guy.
But
Yeah.
Olivia was just hammering this guy.
But he runs a
Yeah.
fantastic room in Placentia.
Yeah, I just got.
The-
I got booked to do the La Habra one. Cask and Hammer, is that it?
Okay, yeah, that's Wednesdays.
Okay, yeah. No,
Yeah,
he
but-
books good rooms. He really does.
Yeah, no, his room in Placentia is one of the best in Southern California. Hands down, the
Wow.
Clubhouse. Yeah.
Oh, I've done the Clubhouse
That's a great
too.
show. Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't like me at the Clubhouse because it was like a lot of older people, and I was just like, I'm on Prozac. Fuck my mom and dad, and they're like, oh, we have kids your age, but
Yeah. It's
other
old
than
white
that-
rednecks.
Usually
They're
old
fun.
white
Yeah.
rednecks. Yeah,
They're
just my
good time.
type. But yeah.
Earl, do you perform a lot outside of outside of Los Angeles? Do you go out and?
I think I will
screw
now.
around? Yeah.
It's because, to get in clubs, you got to have TV credits.
Is that the thing? Like, what is that the thing that you're most looking forward to after doing this? Is getting out on the road and getting to do that kind of stuff, or what's been the big feeling?
Well, just better gigs, even
Mhm.
just locally. Like tonight, I have my earliest spot ever at the store.
Wow.
Amazing.
So, and it's midnight, but still, it's
That's a fucking great spot,
Yeah,
though.
it's still
yeah.
a step up from 2 a.m. like they normally
Yeah.
give you. Yeah.
But I'm happy with the 2 a.m. spots too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
so
any,
hard.
Any spot's a good spot
There,
at the comedy store.
right now, it's
You better believe it.
it's just being on Potluck is like almost like getting past. Because
Yeah.
it's so hard. Every comic's trying to get in there, and it's
Yeah, like I've known Earl since I started. For 13 years, I've known Earl, and he's always been like one of the hardest working guys. You see him every single night at every open mic, like doing multiple spots a night. Like you've been working hard for a long time, and like you were a guy that everybody always knows. Like, oh, Earl, he's really funny. But then without TV credits, like people just don't care on the road. Like you can't get spots. I mean, I know what that's like, and like you used to go with Rob Schneider and some other people, they take you out, but I mean you can't get those same gigs yourself without the big name, and it's kind of a problem in the industry for people. Like when you're coming up, they don't book off of talent, they book off of fame.
Yeah, it's certainly a catch-22 because it's hard to get one without the other.
Yeah.
They won't book me on the road because of Big Time Rush.
Yeah.
Because that was like my big, it's like, oh, I have a kid.
Your fans are 14.
All my fans are 14. And I'm like, that
They're
was
in college now.
That was 7 fucking years
They're in
ago.
college
They've
now, yeah.
grown up. They're in college. They're out of college now.
Yeah.
And they're still like, man, they're all kids. And you're like, they're not fucking all kids, man. But I can't convince anybody otherwise. It's going to take a little longer. It's
Yeah.
okay, though.
just have their parents come to your shows.
Yeah.
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 I've tried. It's weird. Like here in town, it's a different thing, but definitely on the road, I just can't. I can't crack that nut.
It's
That's
tough, man. I mean, Screech gets work because they can bring him
yeah.
up as here's the guy from Saved by the Bell.
Right.
It's crazy.
It's the way it works.
Yeah, it's so weird.
that guy Mark Valley. He's a great guy, but he's an actor. But you can say, hey, here's the guy from Human Target on Fox.
Yeah.
He's
It's like, Steve-O. It's like, oh yeah, you can go watch him staple his nutsack to his leg, but he'll get booked ahead of every single comic that you know because he was a big name.
Because he stapled his nuts to his leg.
Well,
I think that's
God bless him.
there's definitely a turnaround happening. Like the scene that I'm doing a lot of stand-up in now is like this really organic, like underground, like punk scene. Like most of my shows now are in like people's fucking backyards.
Yeah, a lot of backyard shows going on now.
It's awesome. It's so great. I run a show in like the patio of a vintage store, and our first show was packed, and the second show was packed, and it's like just these hardcore fans of comedy who like are like, okay, we're tired of seeing all the fucking like manufactured shit, and who want to see like real comics, which is fucking great. You know, they know that if they go to the Improv, like
You're going to see a certain kind of act.
yeah, you're gonna see. You know, you can go to the Improv and see like blah 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 name comics, TV people. I've seen them on TV, but these people are like genuine. Like we want to see something we've never seen before, which is awesome. I love it. So I think there's like a turnaround happening where people are starting to notice that, and then one day that will become the mainstream. I think.
I hope so. That'd be really cool.
Would be so
Yeah, I mean, it seems things seem to be moving in a nice way.
Yeah, for sure.
I like that. I like that a lot. Okay, so Earl, you were on Roast Battle on this show before it was a TV show. You were the house racist. Is that correct?
well, I was,
so you were that's the kind of term that was being used.
like I said, I was playing Tommy.
Yes.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So you just said I was playing Tommy. People would have known what I was doing. But I did that for about 9 months on my own, and I was just running out of racist things to say. And it was done out of an Archie Bunker type of character.
Oh, it's very funny.
Thanks. I mean, but it's tough to, after 9 months, I was just like, I can't say anything more racist or homophobic. So I asked Whitney Rice I was like, well, I need a hot girl who's funny, who could like break the meanness and the weirdness of what I'm saying. And so she came on board, and we did that for about 9 months, and she was awesome.
That's what became known as the haters table.
Yeah. And then
Whitney Rice, by the way, phenomenal. And her TV show just got picked up.
Yeah, she's
on
great.
Amazon. Amazing. With John Goodman and stuff.
That's
It's
awesome.
huge.
She's great.
So then she left the show because it's a hard show for a girl to work on. She was basically the only girl.
Right, yeah.
And then I went back to doing it by myself, and I think Comedy Central was like, yeah, you're really funny, dude, but this character is no bueno. So you can roast if you want. And if you want to get to Roast Battle on TV, you got to beat our number one roast writer, Jesse Joyce.
Whoa.
So that's how I got on.
Yeah, but you didn't just like beat him. You scared the shit out of him.
Yeah, you pummeled him, man.
His face when you came out, he seemed pretty confident, and then you came out and he was just, you could just see the blood drain from his face. He was like, oh my God, I don't know what I got myself into. It was so funny.
You had some vibrato, man, on every single one of these. Every time you came out on stage, you were more intense than the last time you came out. And that, the thing that you did too, which I just gotta say I have so much respect for, is that you came out shirtless and like covered in oil or water or whatever, or in a cape.
Oil.
Covered in oil, yeah.
Which is so genius because you come out and you're like I'm an easy target. Hit me with the best thing you got. Look at me. Hit me with your little. I'm easy, baby. Hit me. And they got fucking nothing.
Yeah.
Nobody has shit, and they try, and it's nothing sticking because you're already like poking fun at yourself. You're already playing, and so because of that, you get to just rip in and tear into them, and it was brilliant.
Well, I'm kind of cheating because it's everyone's writing Earl Skakel jokes. Earl is this, Earl is that, but I'm not really Earl up there.
Yeah.
So it's kind of
you're like a caricature of Earl.
Yeah.
I thought it was great, man. It was a great move.
So great.
I'm all about the mental warfare of Roast Battle.
Yes. Now there's the set that they had. They were sort of going for like a Thunderdome kind of look.
They got
on the
it.
show is what it looked like, which was kind of cool. Do you feel that there's something missing from like the intimate venue of the Belly Room? Like when you watch it on TV, is it sort of just like, I mean, it's a different feel. It's a different show than what you see live. How do you feel about that?
Dude, I think they did like a really good job of like making the set look as much like the belly room as they could. You know, not that they made it look exactly like the belly room, but they managed to capture that feeling. You know what I mean? Like if you're in there, like people were sitting really, really close to each other, and then they had that part upstairs, that balcony that looked down, and it was like this like crazy Roman lion's den type thing, and then the bleachers in the back were just people squished together, and that's kind of the vibe of the belly room. It's this tiny, hot, like dark space where it feels like a safe place to say crazy shit. And I think they did a really good job of designing the set to match the vibe of the show. I loved it. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
You know,
Because last year that was the same room we did Roast Battle in, and it was just a big kind of nightclub setting.
Okay.
Stage was on the other side of the room, so
They
whoever.
they didn't build a set for that one because it wasn't on TV at that time.
No, it was kind of like an experimental week up there. You know, you didn't know really how the whole show was going to work out. If outside the belly room, it's going to translate.
Yeah. Did they have the wave last year?
Yeah, they had the wave, and then me and Whitney were there as the haters.
Okay.
And we were successful in varying degrees each night. So, you know, and this year was as close to the belly room as you can get.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah. And also have it jam packed. You know, I mean, they must have been like, all right, this can seat, 100 people. And they're like, all right, put 250 in there. Because everyone was like squished together. You couldn't even see like behind the judges. You're like, who is that? And you look closer and you're like, oh,
that's
it's
Hannibal
Brian,
Buress.
or Brian Posehn or this or that one. You're like, damn, everybody was there. That thing is amazing. Olivia, I know that you have to take off so that you can run and do your set. Are you having to take off? Are you okay?
yeah, if that's okay. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I hate doing
All
that.
right, well-
I was high on codeine when I said yes to this show, so I was
That's
like, oh,
more
fuck.
than fine. Look, when you're off coding and you're totally clear, and I don't know what the rules are when it comes to things like this, but I picked something up for you so that because I don't have any, I wasn't sure what I could get you to like make you feel better.
Oh, thank you.
But I found this. It's pretty cool. It's from a company called Blackout X, and it's a disposable vape pen 2.0. It's for e-liquid, oil, and wax, and so you can use it for your the types of things that people use vape pens for. It's like the top
Very
on the
cool.
market. It's very cool,
High-end stuff.
very high end stuff. And so I don't know if you're a vape type person, but
Yeah.
but yeah, you can use it for all sorts of wonderfulness and
Absolutely.
So thank you for coming and being a part of the show, and thanks for telling us your that story. It's
Thank you for
terrifying.
Listening to my
Yes.
terrifying story. Yeah. Thanks, guys, for having me on, too. Is it cool
course.
if I plug a show really quick?
Yeah, tell us and tell people where they can find you online.
Oh, yeah. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at LOL Olivia Grace. My website is oliviaisfunny.com, where you can check out where all the shows I'm going to be at are. And on August 12th at the Lyric Hyperion Theater at 10 o'clock, I'm doing a porn game show with David Deary, Hampton Yount, and Greg Edwards. So if you want to come watch porn with a bunch of comedians, come check it out.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
It's
It's gonna be fun.
Absolutely hysterical and a great concept. So
Yeah.
thanks so much for hanging out. Earl, would you hang out with us for a
Yeah.
little longer?
Yes.
Is that
Yeah.
cool?
Bye,
Thanks for
Olivia.
having me. Bye.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Olivia.
you bet. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Olivia Grace.
Yes. Thank you, Olivia.
Thanks, Olivia.
You can go out that way.
Yeah, you bet.
That's fine. Yeah.
So, Earl, now that Olivia's gone,
What a fucking bitch.
you're the best, man.
No, she's awesome. I
Oh,
mean,
she's great.
20 years old to be that good, and I mean to go to Montreal and
It's incredible.
the guy she went up against, K. Trevor Wilson, is an animal.
He was a
that
beast
guy
on that
is
show.
fucking brilliantly
I
funny.
mean, and he's like a male version of Olivia, where he just
Mm-hmm.
looks at you because he's who I faced in the consolidation
Yes.
round.
Yeah.
He just looks at you, go, okay, I'm fat. What else you got, dude?
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
just stares at you, and he's the nicest guy. Like you can't find a nicer guy.
Yeah. Like I think she had a great joke where it was something like his name is K. Trevor Wilson. The K is because he's the same size as 1,000 Trevors. Which is so funny.
And he just laughed at her.
Yeah.
You know, and I had a joke against him. It was a moderate fat joke, and he just looked at me and goes, yeah, well, I'm on stage with you, buddy.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, fuck.
Shit.
I'm in
Did
trouble.
you ever imagine that Roast Battle was going to be sort of like your ticket to like the next step in your career?
No, I mean, I've been on the show from day one, where it was literally two comics, Kenny Lyon and Josh Martin, wanting to get into a fist fight.
Yeah, we had Brian Moses on, and he told us the whole story about how it started.
Yeah. And to think that Kenny Lyon is partly responsible for a show getting on, and he really is, because if they don't get into that fight that night, Moses probably just would have kept doing an open mic there, and I've never really been a part of something from day one to I've got Judd Apatow talking to me going, hey man, you're great, or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's pretty surreal.
What an insane situation, man. How to watch that happen. I mean, you were so close to it. To be able to watch that happen to Brian Moses and watch Jeff Ross get involved. What was the change like from Jeff Ross not being involved to watching Jeff be involved? Like how did that change the show?
Well, he's like Mr. Comedy Central, Mr. Roast Battle, or Mr. Roaster.
Yeah.
So he definitely gave the show credibility, because no one knew who Moses or I were, and we were like the two, I guess, main parts of the show, and celebrities weren't really coming up there. You'd have a few maybe pop their head in and go, what the fuck is this? And then once Jeff came on, you'd see Dave Chappelle come up, you'd see Hannibal come up, you'd see Mary Lynn Reichkup come up, you'd see all these just amazing. Ron White loves the show now, comes every week. It just Jeff added credibility to a bunch of not aimless comics, but like none of us knew how to pitch a show or get it on the air, and it's been amazing to
fascinating,
just see the whole process from beginning to hopefully not the end, but
beginning to where it is now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Who knows what's next?
I mean, I could see them doing this every year at Montreal. Just you have a series of yearly battles, and the winners plus selected, I guess buy-in roasters can just come in.
Yeah, I mean, like Moses was telling us that they do this, like versions of this show is now going on like 5 different continents. People are doing this all over wherever they do comedy. There are roast shows going on that are sort of modeled on what they've seen on Periscope of roast battle. I think it's kind of amazing.
South Africa, I think, just did a big roast battle tournament. I know a couple Canadian cities do it. But I think LA by far have the deepest pool of roasters. I mean, I
think it's the nature of comedy in LA. You've got probably here in New York have the 2 largest pool of comedians,
but not a lot of people like doing it. I mean, I don't really like roasting. Like, it's not like, I'm just good at it, I guess, to a degree.
The thing that I like, one of the things I like about you so much, Earl, is that you're so fucking down. Like, you're just down. If it's funny and you can find the funny in it, you're a part of it. You'll jump in. You jumped in, and I totally owe you for this, is that you jumped in and did a sketch with us for the Nighttime Show.
Robbie.
Like with Robbie. And it was so funny and super weird, and but just being down to like jump in and screw around and keep throwing yourself into the mix again and again in different venues and different
you have to
ways. Yeah, it's awesome.
You can't just be a Comedy Store guy or an improv girl or Laugh Factory or whatever. You have to like spread your wings, and roasting's not really my specialty, but.
How did you find your way to the store? Like, how did you find your way to the Comedy Store in the beginning?
It's where I started in like 2000. It was the first place I went to, and I saw Brody Stevens. I think my second night there, make an open micer cry.
What? Really?
He was hosting Potluck, and I mean, now I think it's really funny, but back then, this kid from La Jolla had bombed pretty badly.
Do you remember who it was?
I don't. I've never seen him since. Okay. And Brody got back on and said, hey, where are you from, man? The kid's like, La Jolla. He's like, well, that drive just got a lot longer.
Oh, that's funny.
Which is totally my sense of humor now to say that. And I'm like, I don't think I'm ready for this place. And so I didn't come back till like 2009. I did rooms like where I met you guys in. And
Bowling alley in
Canoga Park. Bowling alley.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Shout out.
Canoga Bowl. The Peach Pit or whatever it was called. What was the pit in the bowl?
Pit. Stephen Pearl named it the Pit.
Yeah.
He was the guy who was like, he'd come in and be like, this is the Pit. That's what he was
It
called.
was. It was the pits
Yeah, it was.
in the pit.
Yeah. It was you perform below the people sitting. Like,
you're below
the worst
sea level.
possible thing
it's
you could do.
the worst.
Oh, it's the worst. But and then you were in the LA's funniest person,
where you could be a judge and a contestant in
I
the same
was.
contest. Yeah.
I was a contestant one week, and then I was
Judge
judging with Malika Kennison, who fell asleep when Sheldon Tuck was, doing his thing.
I just got a text from Sheldon Tuck a couple days ago.
Awesome dude.
He was so sweet.
He's in Portland now. He just texted me a couple days ago. Yeah.
So I'm like, how above board is this contest when
Yeah.
you're like judging and emceeing 3 weeks later with Mel Cole?
And that was when it was the funniest comic in the Valley. Now it's the funniest comic in L.A., and they do it at Sal's Comedy Hall.
Well, that, bigger and better venues.
Yeah.
But I remember the first year it happened, Anthony Jeselnik won the 2-year and under category, and I finished second
Isn't
to
that
him.
crazy?
And I look at that, and I'm like, if I would have just won, I'd have that career. That would be me.
Whitney fucking Cummings came out of that
Yeah.
out of that Canoga Park bowling alley.
A lot of, the talent
We had a
level
lot of
was
people in
there.
there. Yeah.
But there's a couple questionable comics who were allowed to perform there weekly.
Oh, all the time.
And,
Yeah.
Of course.
75 comics. And
Yeah. I mean, I used to
Jesus.
MC that, and it would be like, all right, this is going to be 5 hours of
it was brutal.
doing it. Because it'd be from 8 p.m. to 1 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the reason that I ended up sticking in and staying a comedian is because of Matt Walker hosting the Canoga Park Bowling Alley. Do you know that?
No.
That's a true story, Earl. I was we were hanging out, and Fat James.
Rest in
remember-
peace.
Yeah,
How
rest
do
in
I
peace.
remember
Great
him?
guy.
He Fat James.
How could you forget Fat James?
Yeah, you can't forget
Yeah.
Fat James. So Fat James was a comedian and a very funny guy, and he passed on. And but at the time, he was just late that
Yeah.
night for his spot, and so Matt, who was hosting, said, "Hey, Fat James isn't here. Can we get Fat Steve?"
Yeah.
And I walked out of the club, out of the bowling alley. I went in my car and I cried in my car.
Really?
Yep. And I texted him and I said, "It really hurt my feelings that you called me Fat Steve." And Matt
I'm an asshole.
Matt read it out loud.
I go on stage and I said, hey, I just got a text from Stephen Glickman. He says that I hurt his feelings when I called him Fat Steve 15 minutes
and that's
ago.
why he's
and
not
then he's
here.
crying in his car.
Right. And then he texted me and said, "You're not allowed
No,
to have."
I talked to you on the
called me.
phone.
He called me
Yeah.
on the phone and he said, "You're not allowed to have feelings. You're a comedian."
Yeah, he's right.
And I was like,
And then we
was like,
became best friends after that.
Yeah, we became best friends. We've been best friends ever since. But it was like him telling me that I was a comedian meant that I like it. It was like what he said was justified because now I'm a comedian. I can't have feelings, and it completely changed
You were
the way
like
I dealt with
5 months
everything.
into comedy at that time.
Yeah,
I
at
think,
that point I had just been doing theater,
And I was like 2 years
and
into comedy. I
acting.
didn't fucking know anything.
Yeah. But,
Yeah.
it totally changed the whole way that I see myself. And then when I got to the Comedy Store, they just made me fucking harder because they were just they were meaner than Matt.
Yeah.
I had PJ Stansberry throwing lit cigarettes at me while I was on stage.
I can believe that.
Is he still, is he still around?
He's still around. I don't know if he what his status is up there, but Adam's like kind of cleaned house with some of the
Thank God for some of that.
Questionable employees.
comics that Tommy was putting up. So
How many venues have you been banned from? Any?
none.
None? Wow.
I
It's
mean,
amazing. 16 years and not banned from anywhere. That's
well, I kind of keep my head down and don't cause too
Yeah.
many problems. And
Where did you grow up? Did you grow up here in L.A.?
I grew up in the hills of Bel Air, so.
Jesus Christ.
But when I tell people that, they just assume I'm like some super loaded rich kid. But my dad bought the house in the '60s.
Right.
Bel Air was no nicer than say this neighborhood right now, and then they had the Bel Air fire, which burned down every house but my dad's house.
and then all the ones that got rebuilt.
Yeah. So it was really incredibly lucky. We were like the Addams family of Bel Air. Like, we had like 20 dogs, cats, pigs. I mean, we had a decent house, but it was definitely not. Stallone's house was down the street. OJ, great guy with me. I never had a problem with him. Vidal Sassoon. So I mean, it was a crazy neighborhood to grow up in. Wow. So.
Good.
Did you have a lot of friends as kids that went on to become famous?
No, not really. My childhood was really spent up at Bel Air Country Club playing golf by myself and maybe my dad. A couple of the kids who were members also up there. I mean, I loved playing golf as a kid.
Are you good? Do you still play? Or
No, it's funny. Like my parents moved to Florida in '88, so they had to sell the membership. So I thought, I still want to play. I'm going to join Mountain Gate, which is a club up on the Sepulveda Pass. You ever on the 405? You see that golf course up there?
Yeah, sure.
And I really love this place because I thought they let country clubs are very racist. Very few blacks, very few Jews, virtually no Mexicans.
Yeah.
And that's what I loved about Mountain Gate. Blacks, Mexicans, everyone.
Oh, wow.
Oh, they were there. Okay.
Yeah, they were there as members, not caddies.
I thought it was like, and that's what I love about Mountain Gate. No blacks, no Jews, no Mexicans.
I was like, it's back to the
house race.
Yes.
No, I just love it. Wow, this is like a country club for
integrated club.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Wow.
First day I joined, I set my bags out by the pro shop to get some golf balls. Come out, my clubs were stolen. Fuck that place. True story.
Wow.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
So I haven't played. I literally have not hit a golf ball since.
Since you lost your clubs. Yeah.
My God, that's so funny.
When did you become obsessed with hockey?
When I was a little kid, probably about 12 years old, the King games weren't televised.
Yeah,
in
because
LA.
I grew up in LA, and you were a couple years older than me. I think not much, but I mean, I grew up in LA, and it's like there was one person in my 3,000 student high school who cared about hockey. One guy.
Yeah.
That was it. Like, it's not a thing that you grew up in Southern California caring about hockey. Nobody gives a shit.
And they were good in the 80s. Like
There was
Kings,
Wayne Gretzky came over, and they.
But even before Gretzky, like they had always had good
teams.
teams. But so I got Ranger games on cable, and there was this player by the name of Barry Beck. Hockey fans would know him. I don't think non-hockey fans would know him, but at the time he was just like the Shaq of hockey. He was 6'3", 220 pounds. White guy with a huge afro, no helmet. So I just became obsessed with him, and because he would just bully people, and no one would fight him because no one wanted to mess with him. And so I got into really just watch him, and then fell in love with the sport. Such a great sport.
Amazing.
Yeah. Now you've got an amazing jersey collection.
But now I don't wear them.
Yeah. That was like your thing for a decade.
Yeah, probably like 6 years, and then I did a pilot for Barry Katz. Which is a great show called One Night Stand Up, and filmed at the Comedy Store. It's about 2007, and the premise of the show was it's a dating show, 8 comics, 1 girl. The girl never sees you; she hears your act.
That's a great show.
Yeah,
I would love to watch that show.
Yeah, it was, and this was right around the Duke lacrosse case. So I'm about to walk on stage. I had like a Rangers jersey on. Barry Katz grabs me by the arm and goes, "What the fuck are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh man, it's just my thing. It's like kiss and makeup, And he's like, "You can't wear that." I'm like, "Why not, man?" He's like, "Logo restrictions, you dummy." Yeah. Just like I hear Whitney Cummings introing me.
It's saying your name.
Yeah, so I had to take off the shirt, and I had the worst Affliction shirt on ever. Just, oh my God.
The douchiest looking thing.
Oh, it was like right out of the Josh Nasser collection.
The Josh Nasser collection.
And I love Nasser, but he would admit himself he wore that.
good.
He posted a picture on Facebook the other day that we were all like, "Oh, that's from like 2007." He's like, "No, this was a 2012."
Yeah.
Of like this is like the douchiest looking clothes. It was so funny. Yeah.
So then I thought, fuck it, I'm going to go deep on the first joke about the Duke rape. Like, hey guys, the captain of the lacrosse team, he had a degree in economics, so if anyone know 2 didn't go into 47, it was that guy.
Oh my God.
400 people in that room, 2 people laughing. Ian Bagg and Dave Taylor.
That's a bad sign.
that's so funny.
That's dangerous.
Oh,
God.
I'm on TV taping at 6 minutes in. I'm like, hey, how much time do I have left? I mean, I was bombing. Awful. I can laugh now, but it affected me for years. It really did.
Oh my Lord.
Did that sort of like make you think maybe this isn't for me? Like maybe I'm not good enough?
To a degree. I mean, I can't say I thought of quitting because of it, but I was like, wow, I'm not as good as not that I was cocky, but I was like, wow, maybe I'm not as good as I think I am.
Yeah. Who else was on that show? Do you remember?
Ian Bagg, I think Patrick Keane, a really funny Canadian comic named Rob Pugh, who had killed right before me. So I was primed to kill.
Yeah, they're set up.
I mean, Rob was amazing, and it just didn't work out.
Who won the date?
I don't even think they got that far. I think the show never got past that show for some reason.
I did a Barry Katz pilot with Alan Thicke.
Oh,
we
wow.
shot it on a soundstage and everything. It was amazing.
What was it?
It was a game show where.
Oh, I remember. You told me about
it was
that.
Like this weird game show, and I played. He asked me if I would be like a regular person, and I said, so I could be like a contestant in it.
Right.
And I said that I would do it on the condition that I could do an accent. And he said, Barry was like, oh, okay, whatever. I don't care. And so then they started rolling. And immediately I was like, this is so much fun, y'all. We're having fun, huh? This is fun. Look at you guys and your fun. Isn't that Alan Thicke from the Growing Pains show? And I was like, that the whole time. And I did not break. I kept it the whole time. And Barry was just like, it's fucking unwatchable. Like ruin. And I didn't do it to ruin it. I was just fucking around trying to have like a little bit of fun with it. But it was unwatchable, probably.
Well,
I like Barry though.
He's cool. I mean, I saw him in Montreal. He saw me after the roast battle, and he was like, "Hey, you look familiar to me." I'm like, "Do we know each other?" And I'm like, "No, nope.
Wow.
I don't want you to remember me at all." Nice to meet you.
Great.
I think I told him my name was Tony Moss, even though he just
saw you on stage.
He just saw me on roast battle, and Tony Moss is the character, and I'm obsessed with the movie Showgirls.
Yes.
And Tony Moss was the kind of dicky choreographer. And so that's the fake name I always give people.
I like that. That's a good fake name.
I'm trying
to
get
surprising. See, Earl is sort of known for like having a lot of knowledge about a lot of things that nobody gives a shit about.
But that's what makes me so enduring too.
Yeah. And it's like I sort of share a lot of that with Earl, and I also care a lot about things that nobody cares about.
This fucking guy knows everything about every game show that's ever been on TV. He's seen every single episode of every single version of a Star Trek television show, animated series. I mean, knows everything that ever exists about that.
We had Brandon Braga on our podcast, who was a writer on Next Generation, executive producer of Star Trek Voyager, and created Star Trek Enterprise, and I taught him something about Star Trek.
Yeah, 100%.
But it's like that's what makes us so charming to crowds. Like last night I did 10 minutes on the Stallone film Cobra.
Yeah, man,
great movie.
And I'm trying so hard to get the bad guy on my podcast. Like I'm like calling managers, agents.
Who is this? Who was the bad guy?
His name's Brian Thompson, and he's very recognizable because he's got kind of a pronounced jaw, and he's he's definitely a unique looking guy, but. So far. But I do have the bad guy from Roadhouse coming on.
Oh, wow.
Awesome.
That's cool.
That's great.
So I like getting weird guests.
Yeah, man. That's awesome.
Cobra was a movie. I remember that was supposed to be like the launching point for a franchise. And they were projecting it to be like this killer, huge movie. But then Batman came out like 3 weeks before and just got rolled over by Batman. Like nobody went to go see it because Batman was just like number one at the box office for like 12 weeks in a row, and Cobra just got crushed.
Jesus.
Well, I think it was originally, I might be getting some of the story wrong, but it was, Stallone was offered, I think, Beverly Hills Cop.
Okay.
And what he got when he read the script, he turned that into Cobra.
Interesting.
Stallone.
He's sort of known for that because the other thing they talk about how, I remember reading in a screenwriting, I used to read screenwriting magazines for some reason. Even though I've never written a screenplay, but when I was in college, I used to read screenwriting magazines, and there was a story in one of them about Stallone and the way he wrote Rocky. And then he had a deal with these two guys to put together a movie, and then he wrote this movie, and it was about like a fighter and whatever, and they're like, okay, this is whatever, let's go back, do another rewrite. And then they wind up seeing he's in production on this movie Rocky. They're like, hey, that's our movie. And then he's like, no, your movie's another one. And he wrote this other one about like a wrestler that came out around the same time that was a piece of garbage. And then they go to see Rocky, and they're looking at the screen. They're like at a screening, they're like, we just lost $100 million. Like when he's like raising his hands over his head, they're like, this movie's going to make $100 million. So that should be our movie, but we can't prove it.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a fucking situation.
It was a weird thing. Yeah.
Well, listen, we got to wrap things up. Earl, tell us what's happening next. What's on the docket? What are you gonna do?
Well, just starting to take some calls from entertainment executives. Because Roast Battle I think was a hit show, and
hell yeah.
So that's
we're gonna be reading about Earl in the trade soon, signing with someone hopefully.
I hope so.
This is gonna come out tomorrow, so yeah.
Yeah, so the in Comedy Store earlier spots now, and
that's great.
I mean, I'll take it. I'm not really in the business for fame or money. I just love doing stand-up, which is probably the worst thing to tell industry people. Like, they don't want to hear that. They're like, what do you have that we can sell or pitch. I'm like, I don't know, backyard comedy.
A 10-minute bit about the movie Cobra.
Yeah.
Is that marketable? Yeah.
But it could be, though. There's a
be,
market for like an 80s talk show where you only interview people like that.
From that would be great. I'd watch that.
It's a niche show for sure, but there's, when you see fucking Ink Master on TV and people are getting tattoos, and...
Absolutely.
It's like we went to pitch our talk show once.
Let's not say where we went.
We went to a company, and then they were like, well, I don't think people really want to see stand-ups talk on a couch, like they do stand-up. Like, it just doesn't seem like something we want to see. And we're like, don't you make a show about people who run a pawn shop?
Like, I was like, they run a show. They have a show about people who go dumpster diving. Dumpster Divers is the name of the show. The Dumpster Divers.
It's crazy.
You're like, get the fuck out of here. They had a show about female cops that give tickets. It's called
Lady Cops or
Lady
something.
Cops.
It's stupid. You're like
ticket women or something like that. Fucking horrendous. So I mean, look,
their opinions don't mean anything.
You're fucking unbelievably funny, and you crush so hard on the show. And getting to watch you on Comedy Central repeatedly, night after night after night. I watched you at home one night. I watched you on my phone one night. I watched you in that pizza place. That we got the pizza for Fresh Brothers Pizza. I sat at Fresh Brothers Pizza down the street in West Hollywood and watched you crush in a room. And the best part was watching you on Comedy Central in Fresh Brothers with the volume turned up, because I was like, y'all need to turn this volume up. And then everyone in Fresh Brothers was all laughing and enjoying. And I was like, this is amazing, man. It was amazing. I'm so happy for you, and I can't wait to see what happens next.
Well, it's been awesome, but just real fast, just to show you the craziness of shows that get on the air, don't get on the air. I saw the guy, Adam Richman, not the comic, but the guy who does Man vs. Food.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
He went to Roast Battle, and he came up to me after and said, you're really funny, all that stuff. And I'm like, hey, I got an idea for a show. And he got real interested. I'm like, it's perfect to come on after Man vs. Food. It's called Man vs. Toilet. And it's about it's competitive eating. You just fuel these people with as much food as they can eat. You line up 12 porta potties. There's a scale at the bottom. They take the biggest dumps they can, and the one who crafts the less gets kicked off. And he literally looked at me, and you'd think he would say, "No, I'm sorry, dude. That's not a good idea." It's like, well, then what happens?
That's Hollywood, baby.
So, I mean, that shows you how, like, great shows never get on the air. And, the hot dog eating contest. Hockey can't get on ESPN.
Yeah.
And hot dog eating contest.
What's Joey Chestnut? Get the mustard yellow belt again this year.
73
Took it back
dogs.
from Matt Stoney. 74.5 new world record. He's setting his qualifying.
We've had Joey Chestnut on our show.
I was so excited. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, that guy is a tank. And,
By the way, you have to listen
it.
to Joey Chestnut on Date Fails with Kate Quigley and Stephen Glickman. He tells a story that's the greatest story I've ever heard anyone tell in my entire life. You go look it up on your iTunes, go to Date Fails with Stephen Glickman and Kate Quigley. Listen to the episode. It's got me and Joey Chestnut on it, and it's amazing.
Yeah, you need to hear that story.
It wound up on TMZ.
TMZ
That's how good the
picked
story
it up.
was.
You can even go to and check it out on TMZ and just look on TMZ's website for Joey Chestnut,
Kate's
and you
the
will
best.
hear the most insane thing ever. And I love Kate Quigley. She's the best.
I do too.
God bless her. All right, well, listen, where can people find you on the interweb?
Just Twitter and Instagram. It's at Earl Skakel, EarlSkakel, and the Inappropriate Earl podcast. With if you're a fan of '80s relics, I find them.
Where can you find that? Is that on iTunes?
Sorry, iTunes and SoundCloud.
Okay, great.
Awesome. What about you, Matt?
You can go to funnymatt.com. I got links to everything on there. Or if you found me annoying, let me know at mattwalkersucks.com.
Yep, it's a great website, and people will go there and they talk lots of shit about you.
And you guys are both great, by the way.
Oh,
thank you, Earl.
Pish posh.
A lot of years in the jungles with both you, and you
Thanks,
don't
pal.
like people usually this much, but
Well, thank you very
Thanks,
much.
man. You can always get me at Stephen Glickman, STPHEN Glickman on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. And then don't
next
forget
Tuesday, doing an AMA on Reddit.
Yes.
Tuesday at noon.
Tuesday at noon, AMA. Ask me anything on Reddit. Matt's going to help me because I'm not good at computers. but he's going to be there, and we're going to
So
do
you
it.
can talk about storks. You can talk about Big Time Rush. You can talk about
Absolutely.
the 41-year-old virgin that knocked up Sarah
Don't
Marks.
remind
Super
people
bad
of
about
the
it.
horrible choices I've made in my life.
I'm going to go on under alternate accounts and ask you embarrassing questions. That's what I'm going to do.
I can't stand you. You're the worst and the best friend ever. Hey, guys, listen, don't forget to subscribe to the Nighttime Show podcast. And thanks all for listening. This has been Roast Battle Wrap Up. I'm Stephen Kramer Glickman on the Nighttime Show.